electricity company this afternoon. And first, the Minister for Energy and Green Transition has given the Electricity Company of Ghana 1 week to fix the overbilling concerns nationwide. Now, the ministry assures the government is taking decisive steps to end the persistent shortage of ECG meters and addressing overbilling concerns nationwide.
And so the last couple of days, we've had a growing number of complaints from citizens and businesses that suddenly they feel that if they purchase what normally we call prepaid for our electricity, it doesn't last long. And that, for want of a better description, it runs faster than what it's supposed to be. And so the ministry, during one of the engagements with the power sector players, the minister brought the matter to light and directed ECG to investigate these complaints and furnish the ministry with a comprehensive report on these complaints. So ECG has to ascertain whether or not we have any faulty meters, whether or not there's any calibration issue with our meters, whether or not it's overbilling customers or is actually billing right. And once the minister receives the report, they will be guided on what the next steps will be.
And you've given them how many days to submit, to do the investigation and submit this report to you?
7 days.
7 days, you say. Have you received any response from the ECG, whether they can indeed conclude the investigation and submit the report within the stipulated time?
That's a directive by the minister who supervises the sector. And so once that directive has been given, the agency needs to comply. If you have any challenge, I'm sure that.
Now, this development comes amid growing concerns from both authorities and consumers as electricity users grapple with unusually rapid depletion of prepaid units, a situation pushing many households into financial hardship. The problem, which surfaced in recent weeks, has flooded social and traditional media with complaints and urgent calls for government intervention. Although the Energy Ministry has directed the Electricity Company of Ghana to investigate and submit a comprehensive report within 7 days, the Executive Secretary of the Public Utility Regulatory Commission, Dr. Shafiq Suleiman, says the Commission is holding a crunch meeting with ECG today to bring finality to the matter. He spoke on PM Express last night. Take a listen.
So within the same remit, so we are working with the Minister of Energy and Green Transition, Honorable Dr. John Abdullah Jinapo, on the same issue, but preliminarily from our side, we are engaging ECG full scale tomorrow, and it's all part of getting to the final conclusion or the recommendations or the needs of the Minister of Energy by the 7-day ultimatum he has given. So it's all within the same remit and the same framework of work.
Do you take government's complicity that there is indeed a challenge as acknowledgement of the fact that some people have been shortchanged?
No, I can't confirm that until after we engage ECG tomorrow and find out.
It appears you just want to listen to ECG first.
That's very important because, and that's why I keep saying that it's both an investigation and an engagement, because you need to listen to ECG and also from the complaints we've had so far, we take them into consideration and see how best we can resolve.
Well, he also assured that the Commission is working relentlessly to ensure consumers are not overburdened.
Seeing new trends in the demand projections. So as I said, base load is generally the minimal power that is required to keep the system running at all times. From 2024 and early 2025, it was around 2,600, 2,700. Over the year, it has escalated to 3,600. Now we are hitting towards 3,800. That's a new phenomenon. And you're also now looking at the peak load. Peak load is getting out of is really, really, really going high. We are experiencing new peak loads as high as 4,300 or 4,294.
You're
megawatts.
aiming at saying that we're almost at full capacity.
So we are now consuming more power. I mean, beyond what has been projected. I mean, we are looking at an annual projection of 8% per annum, but I can assure you that we are moving faster than that. And it's because of the stability, it's because of the availability of the power, and then the suppressed demand is now being curtailed.
Now, Dr. Shafiq further noted that electricity consumption has increased significantly in recent months compared to 2024 and early 2025, describing it as a new phenomenon.
Close 15%.
That's what they were asking.
So that's the system.
Yeah.
Water would have
that's
been,
why
they would have been more appreciative. Yes, they would have been more appreciative to have gotten even 30% or 15% of their requested.
But you didn't give them that.
Yeah, so you are looking at ensuring that the consumer is not overburdened. I mean, alongside ensuring that the utility also gets something reasonable to work with, especially looking at their short-term or critical investments so that they can be able to keep the system running. I'm hoping that there will be a windfall from government side to be able to invest in some water production and water extension systems. But for now, I mean, you can't transfer all the burden onto the consumer. 225% would have been too much.
Disaster.
Yes.
Meanwhile, across many homes and business hubs in Accra, electricity users say their prepaid credits are being exhausted within days of purchase, raising concerns about the accuracy of their meters or whether electricity has simply become more expensive. And my colleague Ramat Bashiru has been engaging operators of cold store and hair salons to find out how the situation is affecting their businesses and daily operations.
Many electricity users say their prepaid credit is finishing faster than they expected. Some claim the same amount they used to rely on for months and sometimes weeks now lasts only a few days, raising questions about whether the prepaid credit is finishing faster than usual. We are here at Malata Market to ask some Ghanaians their experiences and how this is affecting their lives. Hello, sir. You're welcome to JoyNews.
Thank you very much.
What's your experience?
Oh, my experience, if you buy the 100 series, just 3 days or 4 days finish. It's like Osembo, shoo, if you put inside, shoo, it go. Yesterday I said, I sleep. I don't get light from my house. My credit card, I don't get money from my phone to buy the credit. Yesterday I sleep there.
How much do you used to buy before, and how long does it take you?
The first I used to buy 50 series. I go fit take 2 weeks before the credit finish. But this time I buy 100 series, 3 days, 4 days, it finish.
And now looking at your business, how is it affecting your business?
Business affect the business. Going to be the meat finish, it's not finished. You go put inside the fridge. If you free the light, if the light go off, the meat oil go spoil. That's why.
Let me also come to you. What has been your experience so far?
As he has said, it's the same business that we are doing. Now the light is costing too much. We don't know whether they have increased. I heard that they have increased the light bill, the price of the light bill. If you buy it at first, in this room, when we buy 200 Ghana cedis, it will take us maybe 1 week or 8 days or 10 days. But now, 200 Ghana cedis, it won't reach 1 week. Then the credit will finish. So it costs us a lot.
Right now, electricity is very bad in Ghana right now. Because at first we used to buy maybe 5,000. It will take us months. But now, 2 weeks, we need to buy 4,000 before. Yeah. First, we will buy 5,000 for months. But now, every 2 weeks, 4,000.
Well, let's now go live to Parliament and engage the ranking member on the Energy Committee, Collins Adumako Mensah, on Zoom. Now, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Let me start with you first. Are you experiencing the same with your meters at home? If you can hear me, kindly unmute.
fallen on normal line.
All right, thank you so much then. But if you can hear me really, are you experiencing the same challenge with your meters at home?
Absolutely, I'm experiencing the same. Just last week, whilst I was leaving to the constituency, I purchased about 1,000 Ghana cedis, which normally would have lasted me 3 weeks to 1 month. When I came back on Monday, my wife informed me that we are as low as 200, and that was shocking. So I spoke to a few friends of mine who work at the ministry, just to ascertain what the issues were, and they indicated to me that the report has also gotten to the minister, and that the minister was calling for an emergency meeting amongst the power players. And I think it was at that meeting that he gave the instructions for a probe to be conducted and report back to him within 7 days.
Well, but for you as a committee, do you have any initial indication of what could be causing the problem at all?
Well, as of now, we are not too sure what is causing the problem, apart from the increment that PURC, right from the first and second quarters of 2025 to date, had splashed on consumers. Don't forget that from the first quarter of 2025 till date, a total of 28.2% increment has occurred on tariffs. Indeed, in the fourth quarter, the exchange rate and inflation that was used by PURC was way out of target. By that I mean at the end of the fourth quarter, inflation and exchange rate have performed better than what was used. We were expecting that by now PURC will be announcing a reduction. Indeed, we are expecting that when the first quarter tariff adjustment is done, it should lead to a reduction. Unfortunately, what we are seeing now is that the credits on the meters even run faster than normal. We are not too sure whether the 28.2% is what is applying now. We suspect that close to about 50% has been splashed on electricity.
I mean, you cite inflation as one of the reasons why PRC, when they adjust, at least we see whether or not the tariffs have been increased. But they say that inflation does not really mean that there will be a decrease in the cost of a thing. It will mean that the increase will then be reduced or slow-paced. Though I know that PRC would work statutory, quarterly they will adjust. Your demand or the expectation that you had, was it feasible that PRC would reduce the price?
Feasible. And it was not just inflation. In fact, the inflation figure was way off. They used an inflation figure of close to about, I think, 13 or 14%. At the end of the day, we were talking about a single day.
Right.
But they used an exchange rate of 12.2%. At the end of the day, at the quarter, weighted cost of exchange rates was around 10. And so obviously they have overcharged the consumer. And so our demands are quite solid. Don't forget that the other reason for the price increment normally remains the same, which is the energy mix, which is always within 71% thermal and 30 hydro. So those factors remain the same.
Well,
it's these two factors that normally keep changing. And so far in the fourth quarter, the figures used for the calculation, consumers have been overcharged. Don't forget that in the third quarter, the exchange rate that was applied, at the end of the day, the exchange rate did not went a little bit higher than what we used in calculation. Then they came back in the fourth quarter to back the money.
Okay, but has the committee recommended any interim measures? 7 days is a long time. Would have to be enduring the challenge until some directive again will come from this meeting
these are more technical in nature. The point we are making is that it seems to us that the credit fee charge is more than the 28.2%, and that can only be ascertained when the technical people get us some report.
All right.
But the interim as a committee, as I say, I've spoken to the minister, I've spoken to some few people at the ministry, and they are concerned as we are.
Okay.
For us, I think our position is that electricity tariffs must be reduced on the basis of the exchange rate and inflation that we experienced in the last quarter.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on the news today.
I'm grateful.
Now, in the Ashanti region, ECG has dismissed rumors that the Ashanti region is experiencing a return to Dumso, the colloquial term for persistent and scheduled power outages. The region has been experiencing intermittent power outages in the past days, adversely impacting domestic and commercial consumers. The power situation also affected the Ghana Water Company's ability to pump water from both Owabi and Barakese dams. But the Electricity Company of Ghana insists there is no load management or scheduled power shedding. That's more in the following report.
Speaking on behalf of all regional managers of the ECG in the Ashanti region, after a technical meeting, General Manager for Ashanti East, Engineer Daniel Mensah Asare, admits some residents have been experiencing what he described as power interruptions. According to him, the interruptions are mainly due to isolated technical faults rather than a systemic shortage of power.
A big no. There is nothing like load management, load shedding, or what is popularly called doomso. No, there's no doomso in any part of the Ashanti region. There's no doomso in any part of Ghana. What is probably people are seeing a few outages. They are all as a result of faults that some of them are taking a little time for us to fix due to the nature of the fault. But I want to say emphatically that there's no doomso or there's no load shedding or load management.
To tackle these technical challenges, Engineer Mensah Asare highlighted the reinforcement of a proactive maintenance program launched last year dubbed Operation Keep the Light On. The initiative involves defect identification, where technicians patrol distribution lines that are 11 kV and 33 kV to find potential failure points before they cause an outage, and defect correction, which involves immediate repairs to remove hazards.
There's a program ongoing from last year that we call Operation Keep the Light On, which mandates us to go on our networks or our distribution lines, identify things that can possibly lead to an outage or can cause the light to go off. So we are doing what we call the defect identification, then we follow it up with defect correction. We've done that on majority of our distribution network or lines, 11 kV and 33 kV lines. We have now expanded it to cover every 11 kV and 33 kV network, and we are even extending it to our distribution network, that one we call the low voltage network, the one that is connecting to your houses, so that we send teams or we send our men, our technicians, our engineers to go on the line and see potential things that can cause the line to go off. Then we follow it up immediately to correct that defect.
But it appears residents in Kumasi hit by water shortage will have to wait a little longer as ECG addresses the power concerns at the Barakese Dam permanently. Engineer Mensah Asare is not sure when a project to provide reliable power supply to the Barakese Dam could be completed.
Barakese, there is an ongoing project there that is going to ensure that the water company gets enough power or a reliable power to pump water for all of us. And that we know, and we are working very hard on it to make sure that that problem is resolved. It will not be too long.
The general manager, however, has urged the public to stay informed through ECG's social media flyers and local radio announcements, which provide real-time updates and restoration timelines for any localized faults. From Kumasi, for JoyNews, JoyNews reporting.
Now back in Accra, scores of traders at Makola No. 2 Market in Accra have poured onto the street in protest against market management, accusing authorities of imposing exploitative rent increases and a newly introduced 20% VAT charge on their businesses. Now, the traders say that despite years of operating in the market, they have seen little to no meaningful interventions from government or management to improve conditions. They point to persistent sanitation challenges, which they warn pose serious health risk to both traders and customers. The aggrieved traders are now calling for urgent government intervention, warning that the situation is not only unjust, but it's fast eroding their livelihoods.
Market is not that busy. Sometimes you come, you think it's cemetery, and they are still increasing the rates. For what? Normally, they should even look how things are going. If the market is busy, that one they would not take it serious.
So, first, no, omuti and ticket. Na, eba say, omuti ticket no bio. Ina omudi ba rent. Rent no say mosa to so from 9 million. I cost 50 million. Why? It's too much. And I say, market association, they should sit down with them and then negotiate. Rent no money to man. So then single mothers. It's all to me. Wow, chef, wow, ya bibia. Uba so on to it. Ya pa mucha. Yes, I say yes. Omunte rent no to my. Na to
It's affecting me. Now we are working for the MMC because when you work, you pay. We've never finished paying rent. All the time you pay rent. Excuses. Sometimes you pay, your balance has gone up. When you go, before there will be corrections. And they are using computers there. They tell you they are human. These mistakes has to come. But if you are not educated and if you don't see, you are going to pay. Now it is choking us. We can't. Most of the times they bring inflation has gone up. Inflation. This year they didn't bring inflation. They are telling us something else. Now they said government has given us 20% VAT and whatnot, which has increased. They have brought their increment, and the government whose increment is so it is choking.
I'm telling you, it is that bad, and this is our investment. We depend on this market to survive. We have family who depend on us. We have children we are taking care of. So if we don't make any income here, what are we doing? Then what we are selling, the little that we are making, you are trying to take it from us, sister. How does this work?
So if government doesn't intervene in this situation, what's the plan for you?
It is shocking. Let me tell you, damn, we are being choked, though. Damn. I choke you, non boy. I choke you. Come about me. Hey, this is not a matter of politics, oh. It is the matter of being father for all. There are members here who are MPPs. There are members here who are NDCs. But it is not a matter of politics. We are being choked. Step in, intervene. Be a father for all. We are being choked. We also have families. They have families. They are driving luxurious cars. We walk, we trek. But what we need is to create a very, very, very serene environment for all of us to be comfortable. That is what we need. We don't want anything extraordinary.
Now, the minority in Parliament is demanding solutions from President Mahama for what they describe as the many issues confronting the Ghanaian people. Now, President Mahama is expected to deliver his message on the state of the nation to Parliament tomorrow. The minority say the president must offer full account for the cocoa price reduction and the ongoing complaints about fast depleting prepaid credits. Listen to MP4 Akim Swede Kennedy Osenya.
There are a lot of despondency among the Ghanaian people, okay? You've recently heard about the cocoa head cut, which has affected over 1 million of cocoa farmers in the country. We are not only even talking about just the million, they have a lot of dependents, those who are students in school and all those things. These are very difficult moments for those Ghanaian farmers that they are losing money as a result of government decision to cut down the price, the producer price, okay? That is one thing. Recently, we also heard about people complaining about electricity, okay? This was a decision that was taken by government just to increase the electricity tariff by some 28%, and we are now feeling the impact of it. So these are people who are complaining. the youth that were promised the employment are there still saying that they have not gotten the job that this government promised them. These are three key things. So if the president is coming here tomorrow, he should be bringing solutions as to how these matters are going to be dealt with. It is not enough to say that inflation has come down, CD is strong. I mean, it is not enough. Okay, that is not enough. We are talking about bread and butter issues. Okay, real issues that is affecting the ordinary person, those who have that hope in this government and want to queue to vote for that government. That's what they are looking at. So if government is not coming to give solutions to these issues, well, I don't know what it is.
And I'll take you to Parliament, where my colleague Kweku Asante is standing by with some responses. Kweku, so you've spoken to some MPP MPs. What are their responses?
Well, yes, we've been getting some reaction from the majority side, the NDC, Alassane Suhuyini, as well as the Member of Parliament for Clinton Pro South, Mr. Kuma. They say that, as far as they are concerned, the government has been living up to its responsibilities. It's been delivering on the keys of the economic delivery. The president is going to talk about the economy mainly, and all the other issues that the minority are raising. They are going to get answers to that. So listen to these two majority MPs lay out the case for why they believe that John Dramani Mahama will present a true State of the Nation address to the Ghanaian people tomorrow.
From the North, is tea.
You know, the ESLA that was left for them to solve the problems in that sector itself became a subject of mismanagement, and they know the mess that they created. So I'm not surprised they are hoping that solutions will be featuring in President Mohamed's Sona. I think that it is based on their confidence in him and the confidence of the Ghanaian people in him to inherit problems and to, you know, fix them for the future. And I am also expecting solutions to the problems that they in the NPP created. That is the only reason why President Mahama decided to return to be president, so that he could resolve the challenges that they left behind. I mean, they are not interested in macroeconomic figures because they know that he has already fixed that problem.
Okay. The President's State of the Nation address, which is an annual requirement, has become a ritual. And what we expect the president, for instance, to tell Ghanaians is nothing but the truth. The real State of the Nation address. They should tell Ghanaians what it will take them to accept whatever outcomes that are ahead of us. Some of us will not like anything like flattering. Coming to court, Go So Good is an experienced member of parliament before. He has passed through all the ranks. He has been a president before, and once again he has come. Ghanaians are waiting for nothing but truism.
What do you say to your MPP colleagues who say that John Mahama hasn't done anything, the cocoa issue, the economy? Do you think you in the NDC have built a strong economy to report to Ghanaians about?
Excellently so. Even this morning, I'm understanding inflation has further reduced to about 3.5%. What do they expect? If people are telling that oil prices and all those things are being adjusted to fit Ghanaians, okay.
Kweku, so tell me, what else is Parliament considering today?
Well, because they just presented the business statement, just underway to get an understanding of what is going to happen next week. On the floor now, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources answering questions on a couple of matters. There's just a question on blue guards, whether or not they've been effective in dealing with the Galamsey fight, especially on our water bodies.
Well, thank you so much, Kweku. The majority in Parliament has rejected allegations of a constitutional breach in the distribution of the District Assembly Common Fund, insisting no unlawful parole formula has been introduced. Now, the fund supports development projects across districts, municipalities and metropolitan areas nationwide. The standoff follows claims by the minority that new administrative guidelines override Parliament's approved formula, describing the move as a backdoor alteration of the framework. But the majority maintains the changes are purely administrative and do not affect the approved distribution formula in any way. Now listen to Majority Chief Whip Frank Anot-Dompre, Minority Chief Whip Frank Anot-Dompre addressing a news conference yesterday. He describes the development as a direct affront to parliamentary authority.
Concern are the 2025 guidelines for the utilization of District Assembly's Common Fund, issued by the Ministry of Local Government and approved of by Cabinet. Upon careful review, these guidelines contain fundamental inconsistencies, clear legal breaches, and deep contradictions with the 2025 District Assembly Common Fund formula duly approved by Parliament. Let us be unequivocal. This is not a technical quarrel. This is certainly not an administrative oversight. And this is not a routine policy disagreement. For us as a minority caucus and many discerning Ghanaians, this is certainly a constitutional issue. This is a governance issue, and by extension, this is a democratic accountability issue.
Now, some staff of the Drivers and Vehicle License Authority, DVLA, are expected to travel overseas in the coming months to facilitate the registration and renewal of licenses of Ghanaian drivers in the diaspora. Now, DVLA Chief Executive Julius Nikwe disclosed the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has approved processes for the selected staff to be stationed in 5 countries in both Europe and America to offer the services. Speaking at the commissioning of the new DVLA office at Bantama in Kumasi, he disclosed the staff will be traveling to the United States of America, Canada, Netherlands, United Kingdom, and Germany.
The DVLA staff, we are traveling overseas to go and provide services in 5 countries outside the US, Canada, Netherlands, UK and Germany. I can see you are smiling. I will add you, don't worry. So that is the service we are going to provide. We've gotten approval by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and this is what we are going to do for our Ghanaians staying abroad. They don't need to come down to come and renew their 1-year license which has expired. We'll be there and we'll be doing it for them. We'll provide all licensing issues over there for them without vehicle registration.
DVLA has sought to put some clarification on the comments by the DVLA boss, and we've put the statement up on myjoyonline.com for you to take a look at. I'm just projecting it on your screen, but for details of the statement, please visit myjoyonline.com. Away from that, over 50 fishermen have been left stranded on the Senya Breku Sea following a violent attack during night fishing. According to reports, armed men opened fire before taking the fishermen hostage, stealing 7 outboard motors, generators, and other equipment.
Boat mako 7. Ma navy boat. Now, no mama one shoots, no mama set 2 adbo moto no fabla enti omajiji adbo moto so mako 7 but nyame adom ye bisa ye no omo kire se obi empra bie boni bia so ensi na mom adbo moto no ya jiji da na dwo no free 8 o'clock ye won pano sa ama ade achi na me no kase si bra won mai won nsuo no so afena wo bandi eguso a ye twem ye wa twem a omo de tu omo ma ye one shot say po the one shot no na mo ina da na mo amamo kwa say mo ntu adbo moto no mra mo ntu adbo moto no mo de it is me the other somewhat Senya Breku other somewhat other
Now, authorities have since been alerted and security agencies are responding to the crisis. Investigations are ongoing as families of the stranded fishermen anxiously await their safe rescue.
There was an armed attack at sea. You know, our fishermen, they go out at night. They catch their fish early morning, dawn. Early morning when the tide rises, then they come back into the fishing bay. So some of them they all go as a group. Some of them have gone and have come. But some of them who went was the Nyenyano side, apparently. I think they were involved in that attack and they robbed them of their outboard motors and generator sets on the boat. They said it was a black boat, and well, I can't disclose the nationality of the people, but that's what they say. I'm sure further investigations will be done to find out what exactly happened. But the military, the IGP has also dispatched the military marine police also to accept. So the Navy is helping, and marine police are also helping us. That's why we are even here. Since last night, the community themselves will tell you that it's like the whole town came here, you know, just trying to get in. We're on the phone telling them, giving them the assurance of the arrangements we try to make. So I think in the next 2 hours, I'm hoping that we should bring them either going to Tema, if the Navy get them, or if the local get them, bring them back to shore. So we are here waiting to see what's in. But I'm sure, God willing, in the next 2 hours, we should hear some good news. Yeah, so we know that we are in contact with them. But the point is that for them to come back, that's the important thing. Yes.
This is News Today, and thank you for staying. Now, arrest and prosecute past Cocoa Board officials if indeed they indebted Cocoa Board. That is the strong stance of cocoa farmers in a community called Woman No Good within the Amenfi West District of the Western Region. That the chief of Woman No Good spoke during a visit by the Director of Presidential Initiatives in Agriculture and Agribusiness, Dr. Peter Boama Otokuno, to explain reductions to the cocoa producer price.
We can add a cray. So we can add a cray. Nemo Prempre, Midrago Quakiafo in our name, Namika say, Abanda and Wamoka. And son, I yan Yabaja to Sabine Boka, and in Abanesano. She's a match. Just a modern Namarano, Namaya Hussein, Craig Company for the near whom they didn't want dance and yet they are so much here. Honorable, in Tiampanas, my pants or Ben Ampa, the castle can be a yeti. Near who's or the Quiafopa. What they will go to Junior Nidini. Shadan of a pending comox, Oba woman no good, the Quiafo. Yes, I'm Nana say, Sabine that animal cat to what they are, any one channel. Near who say, Ampa, say, a man is idea, Yanim to Ababia Moka. Yankaso, you're true fool. Name of the enemy when you do more than Cynthia. Honorable, Jano can be say, what's I
Now, former Subin MP Eugene Boakye has formally informed former President John Kufuor and Nana Akufo-Addo of his decision to contest for the position of General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party. Now, the aspiring General Secretary paid separate courtesy calls on the two former leaders officially to communicate his intention and seek their counsel as he begins his campaign. There's more in the following report.
Eugene Boakye-Ntwi's first stop was the residence of former President John Kufuor. He was accompanied by former MP for Asante Achem North and the Apia Kubi, former Deputy Communications Minister George Anda, and other former government officials and bigwigs of the NPP. Eugene Boakye-Ntwi said his decision to seek the office is driven by a sense of duty and a belief that the party's strength depends on vibrant grassroots structures, internal unity, and the confidence of its base.
My decision to seek the office of General Secretary is grounded in a clear sense of duty.
You're watching News Today. Please stay for some business update.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the business segment on JoyNews Today with me, Pius Kujubaka. Now, the World Bank's latest edition of the Women, Business and the Law report has revealed that women in the sub-Saharan African region, including Ghana, have less than 2/3 of their economic rights enforced compared to men. More in this report. The report said only about 1/3 of mechanisms are in place in sub-Saharan Africa to support the implementation of laws that support women's economic rights compared to men. experts interviewed in the sub-Saharan African region perceived that women's economic rights are enforced at less than half of their full potential. The report revealed that since October 2023, only 15 out of 48 economists in the sub-Saharan African region enacted 33 reforms to provide women with greater access to economic opportunities. On the highlight for the region, the report said across the 10 topics, sub-Saharan Africa performed relatively well under mobility, with a regional average score of 69.5. 3 economists in the region scored 100. They were Ghana, Nigeria, and Rwanda, indicating that policies to support women's freedom of movement are in place in these countries. That's it for Business. Sports is next.